at RAV.
Visit buygopills.com and get 15% off automatically.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
This is Rashad from Boston, Massachusetts, and I love Real America's Voice. It is the best place for real news and content. Much love.
I'm Terry from New Jersey, and I just want to say that I love Real America's Voice. I love you guys. Keep up the good work.
Welcome back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. The war in Iran has gas prices at $4 a gallon nationally, and oil prices are hovering around the $120 a barrel mark. Those prices leading to other economic headaches as well. It begs the question, when will the Fed cut interest rates yet again? Let's bring in Birch Gold Group precious metal specialist Philip Patrick to give us some more perspective. Philip, good morning.
Good morning, Terry.
So I guess the big question here, why hasn't the Fed started to cut interest rates?
It's a good question. I think they're dealing with two opposing dangers at the same time at the moment. They got higher inflation from the oil shock and slower growth on the back of households and businesses absorbing those higher costs and slowing down spending. And Powell's basically admitted the same thing. He's saying nobody has been able to successfully predict the economy, which I think means the Fed, at least at this point, don't have a clean solution yet. And it's a tough one for them to fix. Inflation is spiking because of oil prices, right? It's disruption, it's energy prices. So it's not as if the Fed can just play with interest rates and fix the issue. It's out of their control. But at the same time, they just can't ignore it either. As you mentioned in the open, Brent crude is hovering around the $110, $120 range, which has an effect across the entire economy. So this is a really tough position for the Fed. And I think at least for now, they're going to be in a wait-and-see posture.
And I would imagine consumer sentiment is also playing a factor here.
It's a huge factor. Consumer sentiment is falling very fast. Right now, it dropped to about 53.3 in March, which tells us this isn't a sort of partisan psychology. This is a genuine cost of living reaction. Gasoline, I think, is obviously the clearest advantage. The national average has risen about $1 to almost $4 a gallon, about $3.98 right now. And that hits harder than economists like to admit. Energy is a psychological price, but it affects everything across the economy. And when psychology changes, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. People spend less, and that essentially snowballs and has recessionary effects. So this is why higher energy prices create this stagflationary fear. Inflation up, economy down. It's a tough environment to navigate.
You use the word recession or recessionary. Is that a real opportunity for us, or is that something that really could happen in this given environment?
Look, it's feeling more and more like it. I think everybody needs to watch what happens with this military action. The longer it stays on, the more protracted it is. I think the higher the chances we see recession. We've got to remember, as I mentioned earlier, oil has huge effects on the economy. They say for every $10 increase in the price of oil, it can negatively affect GDP by a quarter point and fuel inflation by 0.3%. We've seen about a $60 increase in the price of oil from the lows just a month or so ago. So, like I said, the longer this thing stays in play, I think the bigger effect it's going to have on the economy, and I think we have a real chance of recession as well.
Which brings us back to what you and I often talk about: how do you hedge in this sort of environment? And gold comes to mind.
Yeah, look, this is the perfect storm for precious metals. I mean, it has been for a while. We've seen a dip in prices recently, which really isn't uncommon. We saw the same thing in 2008. We saw a dip, 30% drop in gold prices before it went on to double in value. What we've seen with this Iran war is short term. People have moved to cash. So we saw some dollar strengthening, which drove the price of gold down. However, it's pretty clear they're not staying in cash for long. We saw borrowing rates, so the longer terms, currency hold on treasuries actually increased, which tells us people are looking at cash as a short-term position, and I think metals will start to move aggressively. And I think what we've seen with this dip constitutes a very strong buying opportunity for people.
Philip Patrick of the Birch Gold Group, always good to see you, my friend. Appreciate the information. All the information that you need to contact the Birch Gold Group is right there at the bottom of your screen.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel, locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by patriots for patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit buygopills.com and get 15% off automatically.
Go Pills
And Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Factories from small towns to city streets. This is the fight for the soul of our nation.
We're watching Democrats attack democracy. Do not be fooled.
The strength, the grit, the greatness of the American spirit, all right here.
The left wanted power, not peace, but there's a resistance rising. A generation saying enough, enough. We've tried it their way, and it failed.
The Steve Gruber Show with your host, Steve Gruber, starts right now.
All right, let's do it as we jump into another brand new day, halfway to the weekend this time around, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom. Three big things to know this hour. Number one, DEF fluid for diesel cars and trucks will soon be a thing of the past, along with that annoying stop-start mode. All pushed out by radical environmentalists and supported by radical leftists, but we are chipping away the stone. Number two, the stock market had a huge day. The Dow surging more than 1,100 points. The NASDAQ soaring almost 4% during trading, and oil prices easing a bit. I guess the correction could be over. And number three, the husband of former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem being outed as a cross-dresser obsessed with wearing fake boobs. A handful of fetish models say that Byron Noem's husband has spent tens of thousands on his relationships with these sex workers online while discussing his kink for surgically enhanced bodies. And it's so much more that it's so much worse. April Fools. Actually, it is April Fool's Day, but unfortunately, that's a real story dominating the internet today. Kristi Noem's team released a statement saying that Noem and her family have been blindsided and devastated by the news, and are processing it on their own. It's a crazy story, but there are several crazier ones that I wish were jokes on this April Fool's Day, ones that say a lot more about the state of this country and its politicians. So let's make our way through the laundry list of real fools and their foolish actions and ideas. Over in the House, 2 California Democrats are trying to push through a bill that would bring back a whole slew of Biden-era climate-obsessed policies. The very policies that have driven the price of electricity through the roof in many places. And of course, they're misleading everyone. They're calling it, get this, the Energy Bills Relief Act. They're using the same trick they tried with the Inflation Reduction Act, which, as we all know, only increased inflation. More than half of House Democrats have already signed on to the package, which would promote the development of wind and solar farms on public land and reinstate costly renewable energy subsidies paid by you that were eliminated in the One Big Beautiful Bill. It would also bring back the hurdles to liquefied natural gas exports that Biden put in place to pause those permits. So you tell me, does any of that seem like it would bring relief to your energy bill? The answer, of course, is no. It would do the opposite. Because although energy prices have jumped in the last month, they're going to come back down as the market settle. Oil today at 101, down a bit. But bringing back the policies that Joe Biden used to hamstring our energy independence would only make those prices go even higher and then stay higher. What if I told you there's a Democrat running for the Senate who is worried about the death of Muslim Ayatollah Khamenei, the former supreme leader, because it's making people sad? Sounds like a joke on April 1st. It's not. Audio has been leaked from Democrat Abdul El-Sayed's campaign exposing him for saying he doesn't want to comment on Khamenei's death because he knows that people in Dearborn are sad. Here's the audio.
And I also want to remind you guys that there are a lot of people in Dearborn who are sad today. Mm-hmm. So, I just don't want to comment on Khamenei at all. I don't think it's worth even touching that. They're going to try and, this is what we practice, but isn't Khamenei a bad guy? Isn't it great that he's dead? My first amendment was 86 years old. He was going to be dead sometime soon anyway.
Why is it even remotely acceptable to have a candidate for U.S. Senate who's more concerned about the emotions of terrorist sympathizers than he is with right and wrong, with protecting America and Americans? He also made and published videos promoting No Kings rallies in Michigan, the same rallies known for calling for the assassination of President Donald Trump. So he has no problem with how many Americans are saddened over these rallies, but he is concerned about a population that would be concerned about the death of a maniacal, murderous dictator overseas. I call that foolish, to say the least. The next Democrat wasn't exposed by leaked audio. No, Minneapolis City Councilwoman Pearl Warren thought her comments deserved to be heard in the public by everyone. Here it is.
I wake up every day black. That's something that I have to deal with. It's not a choice. It's not an option. I don't get to take it off. I don't get to choose absolutely anything different. The adverse effects of marginalization and things that I experience being a black woman every day is something that has been perpetuated by institutions of white racism throughout history. Welcome to the place that I've lived my entire life. Welcome to where I've been with my ancestors, my grandparents, my parents, and welcome. I'm glad that you have arrived and made it here. It is an uncomfortable and disrespectful space. If I wanted to sit here and talk about the disenfranchisement of what has happened to black folks here in America, I tell everybody to empty their pockets and strip their clothes off for the cotton that my ancestors picked. The fact that money is made from linen and cotton. What ICE is doing is disgusting, but I've been iced my whole damn life. And if you don't think I recognize what's going on, then welcome to my reality.
Her reality? Well, being an elected official, living in a fancy house with great clothes and a great opportunity because of America. No, she didn't end that with a happy April Fool's, everybody. She should have. Clearly, they are the remarks of a fool. Because it's a joke to rant and rave about institutionalized racism as you sit on the city council where you were elected to govern the people from a position of power, elected by the people. It's a joke to yell and point your finger at white people, telling them that somehow stripping off cotton and linen clothes is going to make black lives people in black lives better, right? Come on. It's a joke to pretend to be the victim in Minneapolis, of all places, where the streets have been flooded with activists and opportunists, all screaming racism for years. It's worse than a joke. It's grifting. And it's obviously working for her, which is a bad omen for the future of America. She's not alone in being obsessed with the wrong issues. Democrats in Providence, Rhode Island, have decided that it's a valuable use of their time to oppose the mural that honors Irina Zarutsky, the 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee who was stabbed to death in cold blood on a train by a man who had been in and out of the criminal justice system at least 14 different times. Elon Musk has pumped his personal money into states all over the U.S. to fund murals to honor Irina Zarutsky. Democrats have decided those murals are divisive. That's the word that the Providence mayor used, and he's ordering that the mural be taken down in his town immediately. Here's what Rhode Island State Representative David Morales had to say about it. Listen.
What are your thoughts on the mural?
So I find it disheartening that we are seeing a right-wing movement that is exploiting the death of a refugee for the purposes of trying to spread division and fear-mongering rhetoric about the dangers that might exist in certain cities. And the fact that now Providence is being targeted in of itself is just so disappointing to see.
Do you feel the death, the tragedy itself is political?
I can't. It's a mural of a woman who was murdered, honoring her by somebody who was in and out of the criminal justice system 14 times. George Floyd murals are just fine, but the little white girl that fled war in Ukraine, no, we can't have her. It's too divisive. It had no kind of message on it, the mural. It was a painting of her, period. No words, no politics. These people have no clue. April Fool's Day, sort of. I'll be right back.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel locked in.
Go Pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit buygopills.com and get 15% off automatically.
Go Pills
and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
This is Rashad from Boston, Massachusetts, and I love Real America's Voice. It is the best place for real news and content. Much love.
I'm Terry from New Jersey, and I just want to say that I love Real America's Voice. I love you guys. Keep up the good work.
Hey, this is SEAL Team from Missouri. I like Real America's Voice because it's real news for real people, and it's real good.
I want to continue here with Irina Zarutska. Just to be clear again, the mural didn't have any kind of political message on it. It had no message at all. Literally just her face. A face too uncomfortable for anyone on the left to see because it forces them to recognize Their policies get people killed. But Democrats are so uncomfortable with being reminded about the cost of their soft-on-crime policies that they're willing to go through all the hassle of taking down a mural, one that they didn't even have to pay for. It's pretty revealing the Democrat politicians are the ones getting squeamish about this mural exposing their politics, even though the mural itself didn't have anything to do with politics, which the painter and some community members even acknowledged clearly. Here it is.
I spoke with the painter behind the Providence mural on Friday. He says he never viewed the tribute as political, and some people I spoke with this afternoon agree.
Here in Rhode Island, in Providence, this is what we're about. We should be accepting of everything and take politics aside. Honor the people who need to be honored and just stop, And I know the divisiveness of today's politics, and it can be very, very divisive, but stop. Let it go forward. She needs to be honored.
It's not an isolated problem, though, folks, because arena murals have been defaced all over the country over and over again. Can you imagine defacing the mural of a young girl murdered coming home from work by a career criminal? How dark does someone's soul have to be to do that? You see, Democrats don't care about human rights or justice when the victim is white, apparently, and an immigrant like Arena was. They're always looking for some kind of cause to get angry about as long as the victim isn't straight or white. And that brings me to one more interaction. One that I just can't help laughing at. Get a load of this No Kings protester who has strong feelings about the Straits of Hormuz. Listen.
Isn't it a little bit homophobic that we're so focused on the Straits of Hormuz and not the gays of Hormuz?
Yes, I agree. Yes, for sure.
Why do you think they're willing to leave the gays of Hormuz behind?
I think it's just historically, gays have always been very discriminated against, which is wrong on so many levels.
Even in war.
Yeah, even in war. It just takes more reform in government, obviously, and then also educating society.
I just feel like if we're going to go in there, we can't leave the gay people behind. Right. I don't think we should go in there at all, but if we're going to, the gays of Hormuz, we could turn it into Fire Island.
For sure.
I wish I could make this stuff up. Protecting the Straits of Hormuz and not the gays of Hormuz. When you talk about educating society, maybe you should start by looking in the mirror. We can laugh, but unfortunately, when Democrats have thrown all common sense to the wind and are willing to embrace being as unhinged and un-American as they are, the joke actually is on the American people. It's on us. In the end, this April Fool's Day isn't funny at all. It's a mirror held up to a party that has completely lost the plot. From climate grift dressed up as relief, to politicians weeping for dead dictators while ignoring American grief, to city council clowns screaming about linen and cotton like it's 1860, to tearing down murals of murdered innocents because the truth hurts too much. These aren't isolated blunders. They're a new normal for a political class obsessed with every grievance except the ones that actually matter to working families and to people like you. The joke's on us this April Fool's Day. If we keep pretending any of this is normal, it's not. Democrats aren't just out of touch. They're actively cheering for the very chaos they helped create. America deserves better than leaders who mock common sense, coddle criminals and illegals, and treat their own voters like props in a culture war theater. Wake up, people. Wake up. The real fools aren't the ones wearing fake boobs or silly signs. Some are wearing black robes and holding gavels. Others have congressional pins. And others fly the hammer and sickle flag along with dozens of other foreign flags and countries in our streets. They're all trying to take over once again this year. So, happy April Fool's Day. Look around. There are plenty to be found. That's the monologue. Look, I want to give you an update on the energy prices that affect everybody, because oil now is down just a bit to $101 a barrel. Just went under 100, actually, $99 as I clicked on. Oil under $100 a barrel, that's good news. Will it follow suit with gas prices? I wouldn't count on it. Gas prices rose again yesterday. $4.06 the national average, up 5 cents from the day before, even though oil is not going up. It tells you everything you need to know. It's not being driven by supply and demand. It's being driven by speculators and profiteers. And until somebody can show me otherwise, that's what I'm going with. Donald Trump, get on the phone with the oil executives and say, cut it out. Knock it off. And that's just an aside. A lot of people today are eating less, and that makes nutrition more important than ever. Longevity Wellness helps fill the gaps with a simple daily shake packed with protein, collagen, omega-3s, probiotics, and colostrum. It's supplemental nutrition designed to support muscle, gut health, brain function, and immunity. You can learn a lot more today at longevitywellness.co. Use the promo code Gruber and you will save some money today. That's longevitywellness.co, promo code Gruber. Now, what I want you to do based on the monologue today is write this down, stevegruber.com. Find me on an email. What kind of foolishness are you seeing in your neck of the woods? I want to hear about it. And any other big story you've got. And in the meantime, make sure you follow us on social media, that being X, Instagram, TikTok, Getter, all of them. Facebook, did I mention that one? All of them. And remember, you can catch Susan Kokinda on the brand new episode of Forgotten America on the podcast on YouTube. Become a subscriber. You're going to love these episodes. Just got picked up for national distribution, too, which is good news. But YouTube, it's free. Forgotten America. I'll be right back. Happy April Fool's Day.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
All right, I got some good news here from Anthony. He said he saw gas at $3.89 on his way to work today. It's better than it has been, right?
$3.89 at one, $3.91 at the other.
But still, it was over $4 here 3-4 days ago, right?
Yeah.
Right, so it's coming back the other way. There's no justification for this. Meanwhile, the stock market yesterday, absolutely on fire. The Dow up over 1,100 points. The NASDAQ up over about 4%. Pretty cool. DEF, diesel emissions fluid, I think is what it's called. I have a diesel truck, right? I have a diesel Chevrolet. Great truck, really like it. It's got that little 3-liter diesel in it. Gets about 25 miles to the gallon. So when diesel's at a reasonable price, I get great mileage with it. I don't drive a lot, so it's not that big a deal, but it's really powerful. Pulls anything I need it to pull and whatnot. But DEF sensors are no longer required on trucks and other diesel equipment, according to the EPA. Diesel exhaust fluid sensors will no longer be required on equipment that runs on the fuel following a change in policy. The EPA had signaled in August that such a move was likely, and this comes after they also got rid of that really annoying start-stop deal, which was also something mandated by the EPA during the Biden years. You know, so this you know what the DEF is good for, Anthony? You want to kill weeds? You got some stubborn shrub that won't die? Yeah. DEF is hot.
That's about all it's good for.
That's about all it's good for. Yeah, I don't like it at all. Does this mean I can stop using it?
Yeah, I think there's a way that you can do it's called.
You can chip it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put a chip in and get rid of it, which I think would be a very good idea, for the most part. Anyhow. All right, there you have it. Deaf fluid is out. This part of the program brought to you by my good friends at PuroClean. They've got this program called PuroVet. If you're a vet and you want to have your own business, this is your chance. PuroClean's Veterans Initiative, PuroVet. Veterans find purpose in property restoration and entrepreneurship. And if you're a veteran, you get to be moved to the front of the line. They've got like 500 franchises around the country. They're exploding. They're a restoration corporation. And, man, they have relentless customer service. I salute those who served, and you can too. 855-PuroVet or purovet.com. Purovet.com. Yeah, it's a great program. You're going to love it. I'll take a break and be right back. This is The Steve Gruber Show.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good.
I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
My name is TJ Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
Hello, this is Hockey Nut from Weyerhaeuser, Wisconsin. Just saying, tune in to Real America's Voice for the truth.
All right, big question in front of the Supreme Court today, birthright citizenship. Never intended this way. That's pretty clear from the writings of the people that put the 14th Amendment together. But Democrats have twisted this, as have a lot of people. Birth tourism is a big deal. You've got a Chinese billionaire who has 100 surrogate children that are American citizens. There's as many as 1 million Chinese babies that have gone back to China now. They're born in America, so they're American citizens, 1 million. that can come back in 18 years as full American citizens. This is not right. It is not what it was supposed to mean, and it's going in front of the Supreme Court because Donald Trump is finally challenging it, but will he have success? Bill Olson, America's future law and policy lead attorney, is with me. Bill, welcome to the program.
Steve, good to see you.
All right, so oral arguments today, birthright citizenship. Peer into that crystal ball, Bill. Tell me what we're going to hear.
A hotly contested oral argument. There's a great deal riding on this. Whenever you try to do something to return us to our original foundation, you get enormous resistance, and the president has found that the first day he came into office. He was determined to return us to the historic meaning of the 14th Amendment, which limits citizenship to the people who were born in the United States or naturalized here, and those who are subject to the jurisdiction thereof, subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. And somehow in the FDR administration, of all administrations, they came up with the concept that subject to the jurisdiction was redundant. It basically meant the same thing as being born in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof didn't really have any meaning. So they basically went with the concept of shifting us into a birthright citizenship model, which is very unusual in the world. So
very unusual. In fact, there's only about 30 countries that even allow some form of this. But they allow it if one of the parents is already a citizen, if they're in the country legally doing something preordained, and that would be true here still. If your parents are Americans, you're an American. But allowing illegal aliens to come here, to run across the border, or to come into an American territory, which is what the Chinese are doing. They're coming into an American territory and having the they never even come to the U.S. proper, right? They don't come to the mainland United States to pull this scam. They go to American Samoa and places like that, right?
You know, we explained all this in our brief. Peter Schweitzer's done some excellent work on this, and others, to be able to explain how clever the Chinese are playing the long game and manipulating our system against us. So if you have the ability of Chinese nationals to be able to simply come here on a tourist visa to a territory, have a baby, and return, that baby has no allegiance to the United States. The parents had no allegiance to the United States. It's simply the accident of birth on U.S. soil, and that's never been the way in which citizenship was acquired here. So once that baby grows up to be 18 back in China, having been taught about the great evils of the United States government, they're able to come back here and be fully citizens that can fully participate in the American system, including voting and contributing to candidates and all that sort of thing, serving on juries. And it allows them, it opens the door basically to Chinese nationals of people who've only been here for a couple of days at the time of their birth to be able to not dominate, but have a major role in U.S. politics. They play the long game.
They do play the long game. So it's conversations like this in front of the Supreme Court where I get concerned about people like Amy Coney Barrett. I'm not concerned about how Alito or Thomas are going to vote. They don't concern me. Chief Justice Roberts concerns me. Amy Coney Barrett concerns me, because if they basically constitutionalize birthright citizenship, floodgates are open. Floodgates are absolutely open, aren't they?
Well, the floodgates have been open, and that, of course, is the problem. And the only president who's had the guts to take on the issue is Donald Trump. As I said, he did it the first day in office, and he did establish a very reasonable and actually moderate position, because you could take the position historically that both parents have to be U.S. citizens for the child to have citizenship. Historically, he could take that position. He did not. He said that if the father is not a U.S. citizen or a lawful resident and the mother is here illegally or temporarily, then that baby is not a U.S. citizen. That is not an extreme position. That is actually a extremely historically defensible position. But the people on the other side take a Supreme Court case that was decided in 1898, Juan Kim Ark, and they say the matter's already been decided, has long been settled by the U.S. Supreme Court, which is a total falsehood, because the case of Juan Kim Ark had to do with Chinese Americans here under the Chinese Exclusion Act who were here lawfully. They had lawful status, and they had babies born here, and now that case was wrongly decided, and it was at great odds with what the framers of the 14th Amendment said. It was at great odds with what the Supreme Court had said previously in 2 other cases, and yet it doesn't even address the situation that's now before the court. And yet you read all these briefs by these high-paid attorneys for leftist and immigrant organizations, and they make bold statements that this case directly controls. You really wonder what passes for legal research and reasoning these days.
I don't wonder, Bill. We see it all the time. I mean, the professors at these elite law schools, many of them are far left, radical leftists, I think it's safe to say. And it doesn't really matter what the Constitution says as long as they can try to pervert the language to their advantage. Where am I wrong?
And this is so sad, because you really have to look not just at the language which lawyers can manipulate, you have to look at the purpose of the law, purpose of why this was written. And the framers of the 14th Amendment had many debates on this issue, and they basically said, we don't want to allow people with allegiance to foreign countries to be able to come here and have babies and have them be citizens. The issue is allegiance. And the funny thing is that these when you have an American citizen, the citizen has an allegiance to the government, and the government has a reciprocal duty of protection of the citizen. If you're seized somewhere, the U.S. government has a duty to try to rescue you. However, these people have demonstrated no allegiance. They are born to people who are citizens of other countries, who think of themselves as citizens of other countries. They don't raise their children up in a normal way to be able to pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to be taught about what it is to be an American. So they're basically raised in a foreign culture in many situations. With very little connection to the United States, except they want that piece of paper to be able to participate fully, just as any American here has been here hundreds of years.
To come here and fleece the country, Bill, is what I think. Anyhow, we'll be hearing oral arguments today. We'll get you back after that and see if we can take your temperature on it, because I'm concerned about a couple of the justices there. This should be an easy decision, but in this day and age, who knows? Bill Olson, thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.
Really appreciate it. Good stuff. Good explanation. Happens today. We'll talk about it tomorrow right here on the Steve Gruber Show. I'll be back in a moment.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink what the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good.
I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel. Film yourself cracking one open and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
My name is TJ Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
Hello, this is Hockey Nut from Weyerhaeuser, Wisconsin. Just saying, tune in to Real America's Voice for the truth.
So here's no surprise for you on this April Fool's Day. Hey, it's free childcare. April Fools. No, it's not free. Mamdani's plan for free childcare for New Yorkers. If you didn't see this the other day, he said, we're building a new building, free childcare for all government workers in this place. Not for ordinary folks. Folks that are already getting a government paycheck now get free childcare. But according to the headlines, right here, it's going to cost $60,000 per child. $60,000 per child. Yep. Yeah, the free child care is a big cost. Of course, it'll be free to the people who get the service, but not to the taxpayers who are paying for it. Of course not. Taxpayers are on the hook. You know, people that are not getting free child care, people that are not getting a free handout from the government, they get to pay the bill. But you see, you have to understand how this works. These workers in these buildings getting the so-called free child care are all union members. Those unions vote how? For Democrats. So if you give them a bunch of free stuff, they're going to keep voting for their free stuff. It's called buying votes. By any other name, it's still the same. It's buying votes, securing power for the communists. It's a shell game that's always been played by leftists. Nothing is free. They know it. Somebody always pays the bill. And it's usually the working class people of America in Brooklyn and Queens. They'll be picking up the tab for this. Send the bill to the taxpayers. They'll be happy. Free child care, just not for them. All right? I want you to hear this. Here is Mamdani announcing the free child care.
This fall, it is a center that will be transformed into New York City's first ever on-site child care program for municipal employees. This is a site that will be 100% free with the child care that it provides. It'll provide full day care from children as young as 6 weeks to as old as 3 years old. And on April 30th, these applications will open for every single worker in the David Dinkins building, as well as every single DCAS employee, regardless of their location across the city.
Yeah, $2.3 million. That's the annual price tag here, $2.3 million. It'll be part of the new executive budget coming out. That comes out to just about $60,000 per child in daycare. Again, free to the people using it. Not to the people that have to foot the bill, because it's the same thing all over again. Let's see here. On average, daycare cost for the city, in the city for infants comes in at $26,000. Toddlers, $23,400. That's the annual cost if you're going to a private daycare. But a government-run daycare, more than twice as much. It's like every government agency. Let the government run it so they can run it into the ground and charge you twice as much for half as much service. That's the way it works. It works in Mamdani's New York just the same. There you have it. Another free policy. Let me put this where it belongs, right in the circular filing system. Another failed initiative by a socialist to run the city into the ground. But look, New York, you got what you voted for. I hope that all of you folks that voted for Mamdani that are not getting free child care and get to pay the bills for those that do, I hope you enjoy that because you deserve it. You deserve it for being that ignorant. April Fools? No, but you're the fools. Meanwhile, Congressman Andy Ogles says it's high time to cut off welfare payments to immigrants. Why is that? Why is it that immigrants here, both legal and illegal, are on welfare at far higher rates? By the way, that used to not be legal in America. If you came here and got on welfare, you had to go back to where you came from. Oh, no, not in the socialist America. No, we just foot the bill. Come on in. Have a nice place. We'll live in squalor over here while you get free stuff over there. Listen to this.
Bill, again, just as you're saying, you have to have a job. You have to show that you can support yourself because right now, 65% of individuals coming into this country, where do they end up? On welfare. Mind you, we still have roughly 20 veteran suicides a day. We have kids across this country who don't have textbooks. So instead of your taxpayers taking care of our veterans and our kids, it's going to people who, quite frankly, don't love this country, don't belong here, and we should deport them.
Yeah, you've proposed interviews that determine the moral character of potential immigrants, among other strict requirements. We'll be watching it, the Assimilation Act. Thanks for highlighting it today, Congressman Ogles.
Yeah, the Assimilation Act. Well, it should happen. If you come to America, just like we were talking about with the 14th Amendment, come here, pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Come and do that. Come and do that. But if you want to come here, get on the dole, the government dole, get the government paycheck, no. Absolutely not. Meanwhile, one more fun thing. I mean, there could be a change coming. I hope there is. Nick Cannon's part of that entertainment industry that is so often hateful of America, even though they line their pockets with American money. Well, there could be a change coming. Listen to what Nick Cannon had to say.
Part of the Republican Party.
That's right. Former Democrat, former liberal.
Yeah.
I was a liberal Democrat my whole life.
Is that because the bag has got so intense and so heavy that you had a whole nother, you up there with the elite now? Or?
Not even close. Not even close. Democrats don't care about black people.
Okay,
and they don't care about people. They don't care about people of color. And the Republicans do, and that's the misconception.
And you know what? I agree with you 100%. People don't know that the Democrats is the party of the KKK.
Yep.
People don't know that the Republicans are the party that freed the slaves.
Yep.
I mean, both of you and I have some conservative views. You just a little bit more outspoken about it than I am. And I honestly don't subscribe to either party. I rock with W.E.B. Du Bois when he said there's no such thing as two parties. It's just one evil party with two different names.
Yeah, is he wrong? The Uniparty doing us no favors today as we watch nothing happen in Washington. The president could call an emergency session of Congress under Article 2, Section 3. I think he should do that. You come on back from your little Easter vacation. Do the work of the American people that you don't do very often. I'd appreciate that, too. Yeah, I guess I'm on a roll today. Nice to see you. It is the Steve Gruber Show.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good.
I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
My name is TJ Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
Home sales have slowed down in this country a bit, to say the least. Most homes on the market in more than 2 months now. Now, that doesn't seem like a long time to me based on, the way homes used to sell. Right, but then we got to a point where they were on the market for 10 minutes and they sold. We kind of got used to that. Well, we're back to a normal place, I guess, as the economy continues to, reboot, I suppose. Oil, good news. I'm reporting this because it's important. Oil below $100 a barrel again. Anthony saw gas at $3.89 here. It was up as close to $4.20 at some places I saw. So as things tend to settle down a little bit in the Middle East, we'll see how it plays out. The president says the ceasefire is in place for another 5 days until the 6th of April, my understanding, as they work feverishly to try to figure out who is in charge of Iran after 10,000 targets have been taken out. Who can they talk to bring that war to a close? And when it does come to a close and the Strait of Hormuz is reopened, well then, oil prices should come down even farther. Now, many of you have struggled to lose weight and lose it, and then again it comes back. I've been through all that, but I found My Pure Health a long time ago because it's not your fault. It's not point shakes or living at the gym. It's not willpower either, because if that was it, you'd already be done. Your metabolism isn't broken, it's turned off. All you have to do is try this company I tried beginning in 2018, My Pure Health. All you have to do is go to gruberhealth.com, get a free consultation. See if it's a good fit. It's all natural. You'll eat real food, no exercise needed. Turn your metabolism back on naturally. Learn the strategies to keep it off. My Pure Health has been a partner with me for years. I lost 47 pounds the first time around back in 2018. It did not come back. I'm glad that I found this company. I'm glad they found me. You should too. All right? You should too. Gruberhealth.com. Find out more. Gruberhealth.com. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk about drones and how we defend against them over U.S. military bases. And we'll be joined, of course, by Ivy. You don't want to miss any of that coming up right here on The Steve Gruber Show.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good.
I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Bates here with your Real America's Voice news break. We appreciate you being here with us. We have an eye on the White House as the latest press briefing is set to get underway at any moment now. Here's a live look at the room as journalists are taking their seats and preparing to hear from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. You can imagine that much of the conversation is going to have to do with the war in Iran and the ground troops that have already been deployed to that region. We, of course, will take you to this White House press briefing live the moment it happens. In the meantime, the world's decreasing oil supply due to Iran limiting maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz is forcing some difficult decisions for heads of state. President Trump, for instance, says he is considering seizing Iran's Karg Island oil terminal. Despite reported progress in a ceasefire negotiation with Iran, President Trump appears prepared to put U.S. boots on the ground if needed. Meantime, Pakistan says it will host talks between Tehran and Washington soon. Iran's parliament speaker, however, dismissing the talks and instead focusing on the U.S. military buildup in the region, saying, quote, waiting for the arrival of American troops on the ground to set them on fire and punish their regional partners forever. NASA is in the final stages of preparation for an historic return to the moon. The Artemis 2 mission is now just days away from launch. Teams at the Kennedy Space Center are moving into final countdown operations with liftoff targeted for as soon as April 1st and conditions looking promising for an April 1st launch. The mission will send 4 astronauts around the moon and back, marking the first crewed lunar flight in more than a half-century. It's a major step towards long-term human exploration of deep space. NASA officials say this flight will test critical systems and lay the groundwork for future missions. That would include eventual plans to return astronauts to the lunar surface. President Trump's day at the White House includes taking pictures with this year's class of White House interns. 47 will also participate in a policy meeting and take time this afternoon to sign legislation. In the meantime, the commander in construction, as I call him, says the planned White House ballroom is ahead of schedule and under budget. His assessment of the project comes as a lawsuit seeking to stop the project moves forward. Aboard Air Force One on Sunday, the president showing off renderings of the new ballroom.
Now the military is building a big complex under the ballroom. which has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed. But the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom, and that's under construction, and we're doing very well.
And while the president is showing off what the new White House ballroom will look like, he's also waiting for Congress and the Senate to agree on funding the Department of Homeland Security so that TSA agents can get their paychecks. The DHS shutdown is now the longest partial government shutdown in U.S. history. The department is the fourth largest agency in the federal government, and it makes up just under 10% of the government's total workforce. The U.S. House has passed a stopgap DHS funding bill after House Republicans rejected a bill that's from the Senate that would have reopened the agency. DHS says more than 500 TSA agents have now quit their jobs due to the shutdown. Thousands more have called out for work. Again, we are waiting for White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to arrive for the latest White House press briefing. It was set to start at the top of the hour. We're expecting that she will arrive here any moment now. Journalists already in place waiting for that briefing to happen. As you can imagine, the issue of Iran is likely going to take center stage, as many of the questions will have to do with that. There will also likely be lots of questions about the Department of Homeland Security and funding for that agency, as it is now shut down for well over 40 days. Again, the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. On Friday, you may remember, President Trump signed an executive order authorizing payment for TSA agents who have been working for well over 6 weeks with no pay. Also, the House has passed a stopgap measure that would also send funding to those TSA workers in lieu of the Senate's bill, which, of course, did not pass in the U.S. House. So we'll be covering all of that for you throughout the day, and we'll take you live here to the White House press briefing the moment it starts.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
To the factories, from small towns to city streets. This is the fight for the soul of our nation.
We're watching Democrats attack democracy. Do not be fooled.
The strength, the grit, the greatness of the American spirit, all right here.
The left wanted power, not peace, but there's a resistance rising. A generation saying enough, enough. We've tried it their way, and it failed.
The Steve Gruber Show with your host, Steve Gruber, starts right now.
All right, good to see you as we continue on this April Fool's Day 2026. Glad to have you on board, fighting for you. From the Foxhole of Freedom, 3 big things you need to know this hour. Number 1. Tyler Robinson, the man accused of murdering Charlie Kirk on a Utah college campus, is trying to argue experts cannot confirm his rifle was used to kill Charlie, but the experts say, yeah, not so fast. Number 2, Congressman Eric Swalwell of California, who's trying to become the next governor there, threatening the FBI, telling them they'd better not release files on his love affair with a Chinese spy or else. Or else what? And number 3, look, I'm going to start this hour with Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey, a first-round draft pick for the Detroit Pistons in 2022. He was just cut by the Chicago Bulls because he came out as Christian. In fact, says he's born again in the Spirit of Christ, and he's been posting negative comments about the NBA parading around with pride flags, pride banners, pride everything. Says he's not going to wear it. And on videos, he asked why they celebrate the unrighteous and shy away from preaching righteousness. And why would they target him? In fact, how about you hear a bit for yourself? Here he is.
I'm sure people can call it out. You know, I'm not the same player as I used to be. That's why, you know, I'm not the Jay I used to be. But the old Jay is dead. I'm alive in Christ. You know, no matter what the basketball setting is, you know, I'm born again, the Holy Spirit, and I've been saved by Jesus Christ. No matter what, how many DMPs I don't get to play, or no matter how many points I score, those things are a temporary thing. But Jesus is eternal. You know, he offers forgiveness of sins to those who believe in his name and repent of their sins. And you know, he can free you from all sin. And that's what he's done for me.
Yeah, remarkable testimony. And we've been talking about this a lot recently because we're seeing a lot more of this from Hollywood, from sports figures like the college football national champions and the people playing in the NCAA March Madness, all doing the same thing. Another Ivy joins me now to weigh in on this. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Amen, amen. I love hearing that.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. They're fearless. This guy's like, and he gets cut from the Chicago Bulls because he said, look, I'm not wearing the pride stuff. I'm not doing it.
But standing boldly in faith, I love that, and proclaiming your love for the Lord, and that's who you're going to be following. I just think that's great.
Yeah, he said he got into the league because he wanted big paychecks and all the cars and all the stuff, and he says, I don't care about that anymore.
Right.
My guess is he will play again. I mean, he's a good player.
Yeah.
He's only been in the league, 4 years, so he'll be back. Right? He's been.
I wonder if he has a lawsuit, too, because, I mean, is that, can't just kick him off of the team because of his beliefs.
I bet they can. I bet the contracts are worded in such a way they can do whatever they want. But his only downfall in the NBA is the fact that he's been injury prone.
Oh, I see.
That's why he was let go by the Pistons, and he's had some injury issues. Mm-hmm. And so, and I asked this of Sarge yesterday. Mm-hmm. I said, who is the biggest consumer of the NBA? China.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think China cares about pride flags and all of this?
No.
No. I mean, the money for the NBA, much of it comes from China now. They're big fans, which whatever, right?
Right. I just think that, what it was at the NFL many years ago where they were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I think it turns a lot of people off. It's not about gay or not gay. It's just like we gotta shove it down everyone's throat.
Right. Can't we just watch a basketball game or a football game and be left alone from politics? Because look, for sports, a lot of us, it's an escape. I watch March Madness. I don't watch basketball much during the year, but I enjoy the tournament, right?
It's become a very politically driven symbol.
Yeah.
So can we just leave politics out of
something
entertainment?
Yeah, out of entertainment.
If we want to go, but yeah, I get it.
Which is why we're going to go see the Hail Mary Project. I hear nothing but good things. No politics, no woke, no bad language. It was playing too late last night for us here because we go to bed early.
Does anyone even watch the NBA in America anymore?
Where's Larry Bird? Where's Magic Johnson? Where's Dr. J?
I used to watch basketball. It was the best.
You could put the rim up to 15 feet and Larry Bird would still make the basket. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, I haven't watched the NBA in 30 years probably.
Well, do you know what their how many viewers they have?
I have no idea. I'll ask Brock about that. See what he can come up with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I on top of your three there, you were talking about Fang Fang and Eric Swalwell. I have a bite here if you want to play that, Anthony.
So we expect more will come, other nonsense from the administration, but we don't trust them one bit. And it's also absurd, just absolutely absurd. As somebody who was on the Intelligence Committee, oversaw the CIA for 8 years, that they're so out to interfere in the California gubernatorial race where we're leading, that they would work with the Chinese. I mean, it's just absurd and probably the worst abuse that we've seen since the J. Edgar Hoover days.
Let me say something.
I mean, which is obviously a significant statement. As you say,
First of all, he's not leading. He's running in third place, which is why the Democrats in California are freaked out because the two front runners are both Republicans. Go ahead.
Right. Well, let's remind people this actually happened in 2020, and he was romantically involved with
a Chinese spy,
Fang Fang, and she was confirmed to be a Chinese. She was working for a Chinese intelligence. She helped him raise money for his campaign, and you know.
By the way, her real name
is Christine
Fang. Yeah,
yes.
That's her real name.
She fled the United States in 2015 during the probe, and poor Eric Swalwell was heartbroken. But yes, so now the FBI is saying they're going to be releasing files,
and he's threatening them.
Like, no, you don't need to be releasing your files. These are purposely trying to injure my run for governor. And I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't that what you would say about the president? That, you know, we need to put all this out there.
Yeah, all these false allegations against Donald Trump. You had no concern about those, Eric.
Exactly.
The fact of the matter is he had a long-term romantic relationship with a Chinese Communist Party spy. And worse than that, she also placed people, interns and so forth, in his office.
Right.
So it wasn't just him sleeping with her. It was her permeating his entire operation to get information access.
That's right.
And look, it's a political campaign. And from what I remember, everything is free game. It was for him. You know, he wants a different set of rules for himself, and he's threatening to sue, you know, the FBI and everybody else.
I think a lot of people think that, you know, congressmen, women, senators get favored treatment.
Preferential treatment, yeah.
And I think it really upsets a lot of people, especially because...
So me.
Well, yeah, me too.
You know, they get, and we just learned this during the DHS shutdown. They get special privileges at the airport because they've got the PIN. No,
I don't think
you need to conduct yourself like anybody else.
Right.
Anyhow.
Well, I don't think that's the way that America was created for.
I agree.
You know, you do your time, you serve your country, and you go back home.
You move on. It's not supposed to be a career.
Right.
Ivy, good to see you. Love you.
Nice to see you. Love you.
All right. We'll take a break and be right back. It is The Steve Gruber Show.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good.
I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
I'm Andy M., and I love Real America's Voice, where my voice counts and your voice counts. That is America's Voice.
My name is TJ Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
Hello, this is Hockey Nut from Weyerhaeuser, Wisconsin. Just saying, tune in to Real America's Voice for the truth.
right, here we go. All right, I want to take a moment here and talk to something that is, it impacts all of us. It does, especially as you get older. Tens of millions of Americans, especially those that are getting older, like me, and I am, inflammation. I mean, it just messes with your entire body. The vast majority of medications people take for inflammation largely mask the issue rather than tackle the underlying problem. That is what we're dealing with today. And joining me now is Peter Galuli from the Wellness Company. He's the CEO. Peter, good morning.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Always good to see you. All right, so inflammation, you get joint pain, weight gain, all these other things that go along with it. You don't feel 100%. And inflammation, I mean, I've heard it from my doctor. I've heard it from Ivy a number of times. These are the things we talk about. When you want to make America healthy again, it starts at home. It doesn't start with the government. I appreciate what they do, but it starts at home, doesn't it, with inflammation?
It absolutely does, Steve. And I think it's helpful to start by maybe defining inflammation. So inflammation is actually the immune system's response to injury. It's how the body, attempts to heal itself and protect itself from either bacteria or infection. The problem is, as we get older, Steve, that our body is target, right? It can't quite identify injuries properly anymore, and it can't quite heal as effectively anymore. So inflammation kind of becomes a rampant or chronic problem, right? And that's why we see, so many people with, arthritis or all of these other inflammation-related injuries out there that just kind of last on and on and on.
Yeah, they linger. And people are like, well, I'm just getting older, and they settle for it. I don't think you have to settle for it, is the message here today.
I completely agree with you, Steve. And I think, inflammation can become something that a lot of people normalize and a lot of people live with. But the truth of the matter is you shouldn't. And moreover, that inflammation is linked to so many different kinds of bad disease states that you absolutely don't want to have to live with. I'm not just talking about chronic pain. I'm talking cancer, diabetes, heart conditions. All of these conditions have very strong links to inflammation that, if going on unchecked, can really exacerbate or create these problems or make them worse. So you really want to be able to...
Yeah, now one of the words I hear a lot about, peptides. Peptides, I hear a lot about them. I do a lot of reading about this because I want to be as healthy as possible. The point of having a long life is having one you can enjoy. So is it true that there are peptides that can actually work with my body to treat underlying causes of inflammation, like the arthritis you mentioned?
100%. And peptides are one of those concepts that a lot of people hear all the time, on social media, but they don't actually know what they are. So simply put, a peptide is just a protein that serves as a signaling molecule for your body, right? And there's common peptides that we're familiar with and probably hear about every day. Insulin, for instance, is a peptide. Collagen is a peptide. But there's dozens and dozens of them out there, and some of them are, prescription-grade pharmaceuticals and being actively pursued by the pharmaceutical companies. Secretary Kennedy is a strong advocate for peptides. He actually has been openly instructing the FDA to put 14 peptides back on the compounding list for pharmacies because he truly believes that these peptides can have life-changing benefits. And I'm here to tell you, Steve, that they absolutely can. Peptides can help with conditions like inflammation because they can help your body heal strong immune response. Creates that inflammatory marker that your body has to deal with.
Yeah, and here's it. To me, it always circles back the same way. Look, and I've heard a number of people say this. I'm going to steal the line. There's no money in healthy people. There's a lot of money in sick people. That's a commodity, right? So if you've got $130 billion being spent globally on anti-inflammatory drugs, which we do, I mean, that's a lot of money flying around. So why would you want to cure people when you can keep selling them this thing to mask the problem, right?
The big pharma business model, Steve, of discovering creative ways to manage diseases, I hope is coming to an end. Because you take a look at the landscape now, and I mean, there's a drug for everything under the sun, but no drug seems to actually cure the disease. It just makes it, somewhat more tolerable to live with. Right?
All right. So The Wellness Company. You guys spend your days and nights studying things that are solvable, right? And you told me you got a big study coming out here in a few days. We're going to keep that close to the chest right now, close to my heart. But that's going to be a big thing that tells a lot more, because you guys are studying every day. What can be done from the Wellness Company to help control inflammation and not enrich Big Pharma?
We have a ton of solutions, and we're actually leveraging peptides in most of them. So we have our TheraBlue. It's a topical gel. If you've ever used something like Icy Hot, you know that it offers temporary relief, but leaves you a little sticky and tends to fade. So we actually have a topical peptide that can actually penetrate the skin and calm inflammation in the joints at its source. And we also have a liquid peptide called Regenerate, which you can actually add to your water every morning. And it helps provide your body with the signals it needs to help deal with gut inflammation, which, as many people deal with every day, is a really unpleasant way to live. And I think these products can offer great benefits to people who are looking beyond some of these chronic issues.
Yeah. Stop feeling lousy and start living again. That's kind of my message here today, Peter. To start feeling better again all the time. Peter Galuli, always appreciate your input, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah. Inflammation, especially as you get older. You got gut issues, you got joint issues, you got, you just don't feel 100%. Well, let's change that today. twc.health/Gruber. The Wellness Company, they spend their time developing these products and testing them, and they've got a big study coming out, I'm going to tell you, here in the next few days, that's going to really change the way you think about some chronic diseases in America. twc.health/Gruber. You can save 10% today on the Methylene Blue and all the other great products that Peter and his team put together for you every single day. twc.health/Gruber. Go check that out. And we'll take a break here. It is The Steve Gruber Show.
Doesn't slow down because you're tired. And weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go Pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with clinically supported ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go Pills keep the mission fueled. Real world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go Pill. Scan the QR code or go to buygopills.com and receive 15% off your entire order.
All right, the defense team in Tyler Robinson's case, Tyler Robinson, the man, of course, accused of murdering Charlie Kirk on a Utah college campus last September the 10th. They're trying to, and some really irresponsible reporting from the Daily Mail and others on this, irresponsible headlines saying that the rifle used does not match the bullet. That's not what was said. Let's be clear about this. What was said is they cannot match the bullet to the rifle. They don't exclude the bullet because the bullet disintegrated because it went through a lot of bone before it came to a rest. And that's what's supposed to happen. Bullets dissipate energy. They oftentimes come apart when they hit what they're shooting at. That's what happened in this case. So they're unable to identify the bullet. That's not the same as ruling it out in any case. The rifle that was found, an old Mauser 30-06 from World War I, had DNA from Tyler Robinson on it when it was discovered. So that's where we are in that conversation. And we'll see how the judge rules on this. But the ATF special agent in charge said this: the fact that it went through several bone structures, there was going to be very little left. You can't match fragments and pieces and say without doubt that it's exactly right. All right. So most Americans are forced to spend too much money on health care and get very little in return. If you're one of the millions frustrated by traditional health insurance, I'll tell you about America's Health Share. Go to freedomforhealth.org/RAV. Discover why tens of thousands of patriots are joining America's Health Share. America's Health Share reduces your health care coverage by an average of 60%. It's accepted everywhere. In other words, you can say goodbye to the old out-of-network limitations and that sort of thing. They make health care affordable, transparent, and aligned with your values, free from surprise bills or skyrocketing premiums. For as low as $68 a month, an individual can get great health coverage minus the complications and price gouging from healthcare providers. You can completely scrap your current insurance or use America's Health Share to supplement your existing policy, even with Medicare. All you have to do, just go to freedomforhealth.org, freedomforhealth.org/RAV and learn more. freedomforhealth.org/RAV. You can learn more right now. Right now, new members get their first month free with that promo code RAV. It's time to make America healthy. Join the community of patriots taking back control of their health. That's freedomforhealth.org/RAV. The promo code, of course, is RAV. We'll take a break and be right back. We're going to talk about drones. And they're flying over military bases, American bases. What's going on? We'll dig deeper after the break.
Doesn't slow down because you're tired. And weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go Pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with clinically supported ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go Pills keep the mission fueled. Real world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go Pill. Scan the QR code or go to buygopills.com and receive 15% off your entire order.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Flashosaurus in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with a family I love.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
I'm Lou, Mega Pilot from Rav's Gator Chat here in beautiful Trump County, Florida. The best place for real news is Real America's Voice.
All right, we've seen a swarm of drones over places like Fort McNair. That's where Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth reside. Drones being used because they're becoming ever cheaper and available We're seeing them used in warfare, of course, in Ukraine and Iran and elsewhere. But what about for surveillance and them flying over Mar-a-Lago and other places? Well, John Ferguson is a drone expert and the founder of Saxon Aerospace. He's also a Marine veteran. Pretty well in tune with all of these things. John, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you today. You've worked in 80 countries designing long-range military-grade unmanned aircraft, advising military, energy, critical infrastructure, all this. How do we defend against this? That's the first thing that comes to mind for me. You've got drones that are flying over Mar-a-Lago. You've got drones that are flying over airports, creating havoc. You've got drones that are being spotted over Fort McNair and elsewhere. What can we do about this?
Well, you know, Steve, it's good to see you again, first of all. But
yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a serious issue that we have to deal with here in the United States. You know, it's a situation where, you know, we have this low-tech drones like the Shahed drones that are able to come into the United States. Well, they're not able to come into the United States, but their communications allows them to go very long distances. And we have a lot of our military bases here that have a lot of counter drone technology. The problem is that some of these aircraft could actually just get through the defenses because there's not enough surface area for these, you know, standard radars to pick up and you know, to interrogate, right?
Right. So yeah, I'm going to harken back to some things I saw during Christmas, which is where I saw these horde of drones. I don't know what the term is, a fleet of drones, whatever it is. Yeah, a swarm, where they're doing these these dances and so forth, all choreographed, and you've got tens of thousands of them, right? And that's all fine and well. But what happens when you got 10,000 drones choreographed to come after your country or your military base? That's my concern. When I see that, I think it's beautiful, it's interesting, it's all coordinated. But what if it's turned against us? And it could be, right?
Well, it very well could be. It very well could be. But, you know, again, you know, I've seen all the reports where they're saying that these drones could be adversarial type drones. I really don't believe that much, right? Because there's no country, well, there's no administration in the United States that would actually allow, you know, an adversarial nation to fly drones that are like this size right here behind me. This one's a 14-foot wing aircraft, right? And these things cost, you know, a couple $100,000, but there's no administration that would allow those to fly over our bases.
Well, wait a second. Hold on. What do you mean no administration? We had Chinese spy balloons flying over America day after day during the last administration, if memory serves. So it makes me wonder, if there's nobody driving the bus could go over a cliff. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I agree. And no one wants to live the days of old. But, you know, you remember when you and I first connected, it was over those drones in New Jersey, right?
Right.
So, again, I really don't think that this administration would allow an adversarial nation to fly, you know, adversarial type drones in our airspace. I just don't think that they would. And if they do, then I think some heads are going to roll if they're allowing that to happen.
Right. I think the real question here, John, is drone technology as far as delivery systems are advancing every day. We've seen it in Ukraine. We've seen it in Iran. We've seen our own military and its abilities with drones. What we seem to be behind on is defending against these swarms of drones, right? That's where we need to make the next big leap forward, isn't it? Because you're not going to use big missiles. You're not going to use Patriot missile batteries to take out drones. You're not going to use $1 million piece of equipment to take out a $300 piece of equipment. So that's where we need to advance, isn't it?
I think you hit the nail on the head, Steve, because, again, you know, we have conventional radar systems really struggle picking up these, smaller unmanned aircraft. When I mean smaller, I mean, 10, 14-foot wingspan aircraft.
Sure.
They really struggle, but we do have counter-drone technology out there that is very good at detecting these unmanned systems. The problem that we have is that, like, we can interrogate the frequencies to bring them down. We can use lasers. We can use microwave pulses to bring these things down. The problem is that, it doesn't stop after it interrogates the drone, right? So, we don't want to hit the family of four in the Cessna that's 10,000 feet, behind that drone, right? So we have some bureaucracy that we're tripping over ourselves on here in America, but we have some really great technology out there. But, again, you hit the nail on the head. We really need to shore up our counter-drone technology very, very rapidly. And I've said this a lot before. Trump's done an amazing job of bringing in all of this money back into the United States with Doge and tariffs and all this other stuff. I think he needs to shave off a couple, $2 or $3 billion to advance our defensive systems here in the United States, because these drones that are flying over these bases, they're pointing out on a global scale our weaknesses.
Yeah, they are pointing out our weaknesses. And look, China is at war with America, whether America realizes it or not, have been for 30, 40 years. So what do they do? The same thing that the Soviets used to do. You poke and you prod and you just kind of feel around and try to figure out where the weak spots are. That's what they're doing, isn't it?
That's exactly what they're doing. But again, I just can't imagine this administration allowing some adversarial nation to fly over our most critical infrastructure. These drones, in a matter of minutes, are collecting data that people used to die in the battlefield trying to obtain, right? So anytime you have a forward observer or someone doing a reconnaissance to try to collect information before a large scale attack on the battlefield, some of these people have died in the past, and these drones, in a matter of just a couple of minutes, will collect all of that data and then some. So
and map the battlefield completely in 3D animation and put it out there for you, so you know exactly what your target is. That's part of what's happening in Iran right now, I believe. Anyhow, John, really appreciate it. Look, we're going to keep you on speed dial. Beautiful drone behind you, by the way.
Thank you. My apologies, the computer's not working here for some reason, so I had to use my cell phone.
It worked out just fine. John Ferguson from Saxon Aerospace. Always appreciate your expertise, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. It's a beautiful piece of equipment behind him. That's for sure. You see all the fancy cameras and so forth. I had a great night's sleep last night. Best I've had in a while, by the way, because I used to think a mattress was just furniture. Then I got a ghost bed. American-made ghost bed. Honestly, we're sleeping great. And I wake up thinking, wow, I feel like $1 million. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. It's an American-made system. So happy to have it. Their beds are serious health equipment. Look, you've got to recover at night. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. And I noticed the difference right away. So don't wake up stiff. Don't toss and turn all night. Don't take pain meds before you go to bed. That's not aging. That could be your mattress talking. And here's another thing I love about Ghost Bed. You get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like it, you can send it back risk-free. I'm keeping mine, by the way. GhostBed offering my audience the lowest price of the season plus an extra 10% off. Just go to ghostbed.com/Gruber. Use that promo code Gruber. That's ghostbed.com/Gruber. First new bed I've had in a while. By the way, American-made, and the price is better than what we bought previously. It's incredible. Ghostbed.com, promo code Gruber. I'll be right back.
The world doesn't slow down because you're tired. And weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go Pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with clinically supported ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go Pills keep the mission fueled. Real-world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go Pill. Scan the QR code or go to buygopills.com and receive 15% off your entire order.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink what the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with the family I love.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
I'm Lou, Mega Pilot from Rav's Gator Chat, here in beautiful Trump County, Florida. The best place for real news is Real America's Voice.
Welcome back to it. You know, a lot of concerns we've been talking about here on the program about what your kids can find in the library, right? What your kids can find in the library. And we did a little research because some of these books are graphic, to say the least. And who decides what books are in the library? Usually a licensed or certified librarian, right? But there's a lot out there besides that sort of thing. Jared Weisfeld is the CEO of Objective Entertainment, a full-service literary agency that represents over 250 authors. And there's been a major victory for parental rights because a dad makes a school board confirm the bucket list murder plot was real. Jared, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me, Steve. I appreciate it.
All right, so tell me about this story. It's a wild one.
Yeah, so basically what happened 3 years ago is a student brought a box cutter to school. Later on that day, tried to stab a girl with a pencil, was actually stabbing her with a pencil, and a kid wrote on a piece of paper after a kid told him to stop, bucket list kill, and wrote the names of 2 students. Now, the real question should be is why did the kid that bring a box cutter, why was he still in school later on that day? Then it turns out later on that day, he then wrote on a piece of paper, typed into his Chromebook, not killing anyone. Kid was still in school. The parents of one of the children that was on the kill list was never notified. In fact, the school told the 11-year-old kid at the time to go home and tell his parents that we're going to be really upset. So when I found out, we had a meeting with the police, the board of education, a member named Pamela Stanley, Dr. Varley, who was the superintendent at the time, and Mr. Kobliska, who was the school principal. And a question was asked to the police chief. Hey, let me ask you a question. If this was your child, would they still be in school right now? And the police chief said no. But yet, the kid was still in school. It took, for the first time in New Jersey history that we could recall of, a no contact order in place between 3 11-year-olds. So the kid was removed from school, but it took parent intervention. And the parent, me, said to the school, hey, this is a very simple process. You need to notify all of the parents that this happened, and you should have done it immediately because it's not your decision to decide whether or not a child is safe in school. That is up to the parents. and the school refused. So I said, if you don't, I will. So I spoke at a board meeting, said exactly what happened. The superintendent came out the next day, called me erroneous, and said that I was lying about the whole thing. It wasn't a box cutter the kid brought to school, but an inappropriate item. I asked for a retraction. They said no. I asked numerous times. They said no. So I sued them. And we settled, and they had to agree that I was 100% accurate.
Did
For 3 years.
Did they have to go public with that and say, look, what he said was true, and we've basically not told the truth? Did you hold him? Were you able to hold him accountable publicly?
100%. That was the whole point of the lawsuit, was to protect the children. And so, yes, they had to publicly admit that I was right and not erroneous.
Yeah,
and they
so
also had to put
Well, what was the reasoning to leave that kid in the classroom?
They were no reason. They just didn't think the kid should be removed. That's the problem we have, is there's no accountability, right? Can you imagine a Board of Education member like Pamela Stanley being in a meeting and the police chief says it's not safe for your kid to be in school, and just crickets? Crickets. The superintendent, mind you, was so upset that I spoke at that board meeting, she leaked my emails to the media the following day. So it's not only accountability, they double down. They have no remorse. Can you imagine you have to sue somebody to admit that there was a weapon brought to school? Now, the superintendent has since, she resigned shortly, a year later or so. But as she's leaving, right, she has a picture from IM4 of a woman running away from a building that's exploding. And people think this is normal. It's not normal behavior. And the saddest part, Steve, is we have
here's the saddest part. Yeah, here's the saddest part. Because she left, the superintendent resigned, to go get a job somewhere else. She didn't, because that's usually what they do. Bad teachers, bad administrators go someplace else and get a job. But maybe that wasn't the case here. But, that's what usually happens. Go ahead.
You're right. But now she's cleaning pools in South Carolina. Well, so she's nowhere near children. But
that's a good step forward.
The point is there's no accountability. I had to come out publicly to get accountability. And I think parents all across the country can do the same thing. Before you move into a town, watch a board meeting. See if these people are nuts. Watch the school superintendent. See if they're nuts. Right? There's a story out of South Carolina that's mind-blowing to me. Right? I want you to think about this, Steve. Right? There's a school called Charleston Day School. Right? A very, very popular day school in Charleston, South Carolina, filled with the richest of rich in South Carolina, right? They took out an EANS, they filled out an EANS application for PPP money, an EANS application, and they said that more than 50% of the school was lower income family. That's impossible. It's one of the wealthiest schools around. Not only that, when they took out a PPP loan, they said they were only around for 2 years, 2 years or less. The school was founded before World War II, right? And they said they were a child daycare center. There's no accountability. These people get away with it, right? There's zero accountability for people that do these kinds of things to parents. It's unbelievable. They make excuses about everything. Everything is somebody else's fault, right? No accountability.
Yeah, that's what America has become. Pass the buck. Pass the buck. The buck doesn't stop anywhere, Jared. You're exactly right. Great story. I'm glad you prevailed and stood your ground and held the line. It's really important, and I appreciate you being here.
Well, it's because of local media. Tappan 2, right? They reported the story. Without local media and hyper-local news, we have nothing. There's no way to get the voice out. So shout out to Tappan 2 for doing their job.
Local media is really important. Fair and balanced local media is really
There's
important.
Nobody fair and balanced. Tappan 2 is the most fair and balanced. Yeah. It's just balls and strikes.
Yeah. Jared, greatly appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Interesting story. Check out the school board before you put your kid in the school district. That's an interesting piece of advice. Maybe pretty good. I'll take a break and be back. It is the Steve Gruber Show.
Doesn't slow down because you're tired. and weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go Pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with clinically supported ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go Pills keep the mission fueled. Real world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go Pill. Scan the QR code or go to buygopills.com and receive 15% off your entire order.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with the family I love.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
All right, let's check in on sports with Brock Palmbush now.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. Hall of Fame golfer Tiger Woods announced yesterday via social media that he is, quote, stepping away for a period of time to seek treatment and focus on his health, end of quote. This announcement comes just 4 days after he was arrested for DUI after he was involved in a rollover car crash in Florida. Tiger won't play in the Masters next week, and it's unclear as to if or when he ever plays again. A full schedule in Major League Baseball yesterday. American League winners included Toronto, Texas, and the LA Angels. National League winners included Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. In the NBA last night, there were 7 games played. Winners included Charlotte, Detroit, Houston, and the Los Angeles Lakers. In the NHL, there were 10 games played last night. Winners included Montreal, Florida, Winnipeg, and Edmonton. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Brock, so will he play again? Is Tiger Woods done? Is that it?
He might be. There's lots of speculation that he's addicted to painkillers and other stuff. I'm not talking about, cocaine or anything like that. I'm talking prescription drugs.
Which can be worse.
Could be, yeah, like painkillers with the horrible accident that almost killed him, 3 years ago?
Here's the thing.
He's now, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Every one of these accidents, me going back and looking at the timeline, the accidents happened after major surgery, usually back surgery. So he gets up on the painkillers, and then he has an accident, then he has more painkillers, and it's a bad cycle from what it looks like to me.
It's really, really sad because he is no worse than the second greatest golfer of all time, behind only Jack Nicklaus.
That's because Nicklaus won 18 majors.
Nicklaus won 18 majors. Tiger's only, in quotation marks, won 15.
Right. I mean, Daly is the best of all time.
I expected you to say that.
What a legend.
Yeah. There it is. Anthony says John Daly's the man. Anyhow, let's hope Tiger gets better. He is. He is a remarkable athlete with remarkable skill and obviously a problem.
He's made lots of mistakes, though. A lot of it self-inflicted, though.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, self-destructive behavior can do that.
Yep.
Brock, thank you for that. Greatly appreciate you. For those of you on Real America's Voice, Sunrise. Up next for the rest of you on streaming and MTN. The Steve Gruber Show continues for another hour of, broadcast excellence, as Rush used to say. I'll be right back. It is the Steve Gruber Show.
The world doesn't slow down because you're tired. And weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go Pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with clinically supported ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go Pills keep the mission fueled. Real world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go Pill. Scan the QR code or go to buygopills.com and receive 15% off your entire order.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus.